I've thought about being an artist, but I really didn't think about the landscape as being something that was a part of my life as an artist. I loved looking at the landscape while we were always driving in the car and going back and forth to my grandparents' farm. My grandmother lived here in Bellevue, and I came out here to Bellevue a lot on the weekends to see my cousins. And all the time that I was driving up and down Highway 61, I never once looked at it as something I wanted to paint, and it made no connection to me at all. So when I graduated from high school, I decided that the first thing I wanted to do was get out of Iowa. So I went to school for a little while at the University of Iowa, and then I moved to Washington, D.C. when I was 19. I didn't have any friends there, or any family or anything like that. I took 2 backpacks and my clothes, and I moved to downtown Washington. I'd never lived in a city before, a big city, never lived on my own before or anything like that. And I had a job working for an organization that went up to Capitol Hill a lot and was lobbying for the arts.
And so I know that you've been going through quite a few different classrooms this week, going through talking to students. What has been your favorite part of that experience so far? You're just about to wrap up the week getting in there and talking to kids.
We're wrapping up. We have one more school left. My favorite thing have been the questions from the students, because I don't think very often an artist comes in and relates to the landscape that they're as familiar with either. That, you know, you pass by it, you pass by the same field every single day and you hardly notice it. And yet if you're really paying attention, you start to recognize that there's nothing ordinary about any moment. Hence the title of the show is No Ordinary Moments, because I think because everything changes, even though it seems like it's static and everybody calls Iowa a flyover state, it changes subtly and beautifully. And I wanted the students to recognize that living here is really a gift and a blessing. And if they sort of focus in on noticing the subtle changes, then it isn't a flyover state. It's really a beautiful place to live. And I think it was because of their questions was the most interesting part of the experience.
Okay, so for people who might be doing kind of art projects as a hobby, I guess some of the advice that you would have for them if they might be taking their work kind of too seriously, you know, maybe...
Lighten up. Put on some music and lighten up. There's no mistakes. You can't go wrong. I think making something like, whether it's yoga or art or reading or gardening, an everyday activity that you can go back to, like a ritual that enriches your life and gives you more of a sense of meaning, is probably the best advice I could give to anybody, whether it's gardening or making art. It's something you look forward to doing that gives you fulfillment. And that becomes a course of study that can last all the way through your life, and then you can share with somebody else in your family. And it becomes sometimes, you know, almost like a tradition. Then maybe your children paint with you because you love doing it, or your children garden with you because you love doing it. So I think the part about making it an everyday thing, and not something that you can only do on Sunday when you have time. You can paint while you're sitting in the line at the post office. You can sit and draw in a little sketchbook or write haikus. I think we all get so lost in our work life, and you're always wondering, when do I get to take a breath and enjoy my life? And that's the important thing, is there are times in everybody's day that you can find to invest your soul into something.